Hello, good evening. My greetings to all the dignitaries, delegates, teachers, doctors, students who have gathered today to celebrate Dr. Samuel Hahnemann's 268th birth anniversary. When I think of Dr. Hahnemann, I feel it is very difficult to put him in one word to describe Hahnemann because his persona is so enormous that we can't say whether he is just a linguist or he was a chemist or a physician or just a founder of homeopathy. When I was a student of medicine, I used to feel that Hahnemann was a big doctor, a big physician. When I came out as a practitioner of homeopathy, I felt that Hahnemann was a researcher because he had done immense research and who introduced the science of homeopathy to the world. When I became a teacher in the medical school, I started believing that Hahnemann was more of a philosopher because he had a lot of philosophy that he gave it to the world. When I turned into a researcher, devoting all my last 25 years into developing new drugs, I realized a new perception about Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. And I am fully convinced now that Dr. Hahnemann was, besides being a chemist and a physician and a founder of homeopathy, he was more of an engineer and he was an innovator. And I'll try to explain what I mean by that and how do I perceive this. If you look at engineering, what is engineering? Engineering is a system or a mechanism which integrates all the basic sciences such as biology, physics, chemistry and mathematics, and which is used to develop tools or methods to create some new innovation. And what did Hahnemann do? Hahnemann's homeopathy is distinct in terms of two major things. One, he utilized the method of the principle of similia, the law of similars, which is nothing but one which relates with the Newton's third law, which relates with the equal and opposite actions. It also relates with the another physics phenomenon or a biology phenomenon called hormesis. So it is integration of hormesis and the similia, which is physics. Hahnemann was himself a chemist, as we all know. He used and developed so many medicines from the chemical sources. Hahnemann was also a biologist in a way that he used and developed so many medicines, and besides that, he gave a concept of vital force. Now, what is vital force? As we understand vital force today, it is nothing but the understanding of immune system and the genetics. So the advanced learning and the understanding of genetics and immunity together is what Hahnemann talked about 230 years back. That is biology. Another very important aspect of homeopathy, which is different than the other systems of medicine, and that is potentization. What is potentization? Potentization is nothing but a brainchild of the genius Hahnemann, in my view. Potentization is nothing but the physics and mathematics which is in itself is a technology which renders any material into nanomaterial. How amazing it is that 200 years back, Hahnemann developed a very simple system of potentization which explains today that had a capacity or that has the capacity to render a substance inorganic or organic into nanoparticles. It is similar to Madhav Ramanujan, who found a mathematical formula over 100 years back, which explained black hole theory. And now that black hole theory concept is understood by the mathematicians today. So similarly, the nanotechnology aspect of homeopathy is now understood lately by the researchers, in the nanotechnology field. So that is very amazing, and that's by very simple method, potentization renders the substance into still a viable medicinal substance, which is capacity. Latest research we have found that homeopathic medicines, especially nozodes, have immunomodulatory effects. They also have immunogenicity, and that is quite a breakthrough. So that capacity potentization has, which is nothing but the engineering marvel, in my view, which Hahnemann gifted to the world. In my view, Hahnemann should be considered as one of the pioneers of nanotechnology. So that is all what engineering aspect of homeopathy that Hahnemann brought, and he was an innovator. He was a scientist, and he pursued the sense of questioning, a scientific questioning, and that's how he developed the system of homeopathy. He always believed in critical thinking, and that's what unfortunately we have not yet followed him. My views are like this, that we don't need to worship Hahnemann. What I mean by that, with immense respect to Hahnemann, when we worship somebody, we stop following them. We need to get inspiration from people like Hahnemann, and as homeopathy is a science which cannot stop growing where Hahnemann left it. We need to take it further. In order that we take it further, we need to bring constant revolution and evolution, which Hahnemann did it himself. He introduced homeopathy when he was around 45 years, and till the age of 88, he continued to evolve the science of homeopathy. He started using mother tinctures to start with, and then slowly he went to developing potencies. And in his final years, he also developed LM potency. So that shows that he continued to grow. Unfortunately, the science of homeopathy has not grown much in last years after Hahnemann, and we must be fully aware about that. Allopathy, or the so-called orthodox medicine at that time, was quite backward, so to say. It was unscientific, but then they took the help of science, and by using all the scientific developments, the old system of medicine which grew into modern system of medicine today, and that's how it is considered today as quite scientific. While homeopathy did not do that. Homeopathy became more philosophical than scientific, in my view, and that was one of the major reasons why homeopathy has not grown much. Look at the drugs. We have around 1,500 drugs which are listed in the homeopathic pharmacopoeia across the world, and 99% of these drugs were developed more than 150 years back. And how can any system of medicine evolve or grow without adding new medicines? So we need to really work quite hard on new drug development and more research. Also, to not only to bring new drugs into homeopathy, but also to show how homeopathic medicines actually work. And the good news is that recent studies are able to demonstrate how homeopathic medicines actually work. The mechanism of action is increasingly understood, which was not the case for almost 200 years. Just to share with you, the COVID-19 nosode, the biosim COVAX, which we have been working for last 3 years, has now shown the immunomodulatory effects, and it has also shown immunogenicity, whereby it shows how these medicines, the nanoparticle based medicine, are able to enhance and trigger certain immune response to create protection. So we need furtherance in this area. We need to study much more. We need to have more medicines evaluated scientifically. We need to have regulatory processes to for the approval of these homeopathic medicines. All these developments are quite required. Hahnemann himself in his lifetime introduced almost 100 new medicines, single-handed. I can't think of any other physician or innovator who may have introduced 100 new drugs in the system of homeopathy medicine. So all said and done, homeopathy's founder, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, was a great genius. He was an innovator, he was a physician, he was an engineer, and he was an entrepreneur himself. And we feel overwhelmed remembering him, recalling him, and we pay our deepest heartfelt homage to Samuel Hahnemann on this day. Thank you so much for listening.